Okay. Good morning. Good morning. So you guys know if I hop up, it's because I'm letting someone back in, or if I'm looking at my phone, it's because I'm letting someone back in. Let me just make sure I'm on Do Not Disturb, though. All right, perfect. All right, good morning. So let's find a comfortable seat. And this might mean that you're not in Sukhasana, cross-legged pose. You might have your legs straight out in front. The idea here is to not feel any tension in the hips. So if you feel like you're kind of holding on to the hips, or that the hips are really talking to you, then give yourself a little height. Maybe sit yourself up on a blanket or a block. And we've got 13 virtually today and 5 here in the studio: Colleen, Candace, Liddy, Terry, and Marianne. So glad we're all here together, virtually or in studio. It's nice to have some bodies in here. Let's find and feel our breaths. Watching your breath as it comes into and out of your body, not trying to change or shape your breath. Just let it come and go. With each exhalation, allowing your shoulders to soften away from your neck away from your head. Part your teeth, relax your tongue, let it rest in the bottom of your mouth. And we're coming into, as I promised, bird month this month. So next 4 weeks or so, we're going to do all bird-related poses. They're going to be our pinnacle pose. And today is pigeon, or Ekapada Rajakapatasana. Say that 5 times fast. And if you've got hip stuff going on and pigeon is not in your practice, don't freak out. We've got lots of options for you as well. And I'll show you those as we move through. Taking one more nice deep breath in and just focusing on the hips for a moment. Just notice how your hips feel, how they are in relationship to the earth. And just as I bring awareness to the hips, noticing if you're gripping, see if you can soften just a little bit in the front of the hips. Good, and then on your next exhale, let your chin gently release towards your heart, blink your eyes open and lift your hips. Good. We'll straighten our legs out in front. Bring your hands to the top of your right leg and just get your right leg moving back and forth. So I'm going to keep the leg very relaxed here, and I'm physically moving my leg. Bringing some synovial fluid into the hip socket, and just notice if the leg doesn't want to move, that's okay. Keep it super relaxed. So if I take my hands off, my leg stops. Good, switch over to the other side. And then coming back to your right leg, cross your right leg over your left. Bring your left hand to the bottom of your right foot and just make some space between your toes. So you can bring your fingers in between your toes or just hold the foot and circle. And if circling doesn't feel good, you can just give the foot a squeeze. So lots of options here. Just notice what your foot wants to do this morning. And then separate your fingers nice and wide, giving the toes a little bit more of a stretch. Remove your fingers, draw your foot towards you, press your foot away, and then we'll hold the foot and give each toe some attention. Just giving the toes a twist and turn in both directions and a gentle pull, like you're unscrewing and screwing in a light bulb. Opening up the joints of your toes. Once you finish working your toes, massage your foot out. Spend some time on the ball of your foot, stretching and spreading the ball of your foot out to the big toe side and little toe side of your foot. Really working the tissue here. Notice if the ball of your foot is really stiff and is not moving. It should be super flexible, and it just gets bound up because we wear shoes and we don't work on our feet. So working on your feet every day is really good. Plus it doesn't feel too bad either. And then work your way around your foot anywhere your foot needs some attention. We'll make our way back up to the big toe side and little toe side of your foot. Hold onto your foot and shake your foot out. Again, trying to get this back and forth motion in the ball of the foot. Good, and then we'll rub the foot out. And switch over to the other side, crossing left over right. Never forcing your toes open. Good, and then separating your fingers nice and wide. Remove your fingers, draw your foot towards you. Press away, and then holding your foot, giving the toes some love. And then again, once you finish working on your toes, massage your foot out. Spending some time on the ball of the foot, stretching and spreading the ball of your foot out to the big toe side and little toe side of the foot. And then working your way around the foot. Eventually coming back up to the big toe side and little toe side of your foot. Hold your foot and give your foot a good shake out. And we'll give the foot a little rub out and yeah. Finding your tennis ball, we'll roll out our feet. Just pick a foot and roll. Begin to tune into your breath as we do this series with the tennis ball. You may feel the deep breath coming into the body. Good, switch over to the other side. And then we're going to stay with the tennis ball. If you're up on a blanket, you can come off your blanket, straighten your legs out in front. And then lean to your left, find your right sitting bone. It's this big bone right at the bottom of your tush. Sit on top of the tennis ball with this big bone. You're going to feel a little lopsided. Press into your hands and shift your hips from left to right a couple times. So you're staying on the right side and you're bringing the tennis ball to the inside and the outside of this bone. It's going to feel weird if you haven't done this before. And it might feel very tight. Good. Staying on your right side, bend your knees a little bit, scoot your butt towards the front of your mat. Now the tennis ball is in the meat of your tush. Shoot back, let the tennis ball roll over the sitting bone into the back of your leg where your hamstring is. This one also can be a little juicy, so breathe. Good, and then eventually shifting back just enough so the tennis ball is now in front of your sitting bone. You're not sitting on it now. It's just wedged up against the bone. Straighten your right leg. Bring your hand to the top of your right leg and we'll get the leg moving back and forth again. Good. Pressing into the top of the leg, getting the tennis ball into the meat of the back of the hamstring. Good. And then take your tennis ball out. Sit, close your eyes for a second and breathe. Notice if there's any difference between the two sides. And then we'll do the other side. So right leg might have felt flatter. You might have felt a release in your shoulder. So left to right to start. Don't have to go fast. Think about, it's like a car going over a speed bump. Good, and then front to back. Now the tennis ball comes into the meat of your glute, right over the sitting bone and into the back of the leg. Stay relaxed in your face. And then we'll shift back just enough so the ball's in front of your left sitting bone. Straighten your left leg. Bring your hand to the top of the leg and then get the leg moving back and forth. One side might feel tighter than another. Just notice that. Good, and then take your tennis ball out and sit. Pause here for a moment. Just let the sitting bones settle, the hamstrings settle, and take a breath. Good. We're going to come back up onto a blanket if you're using one. And so blankets are not just for the hips, right? It's also to help us sit tall without a lot of effort. So if you're sitting and you're feeling like you're kind of in slumpasana, right? So maybe get a little bit taller, a little bit higher on your blanket. Good, and we'll sweep arms up. Nice deep breath. Exhale and lower. Just moving through a few more. On your own breath. Next time you're ready to inhale, sweep the left arm up, take it over to the right. And I'm bowing out my left rib cage, keeping my face and jaw relaxed, always tongue is relaxed. And even just pressing into the floor with my right hand to open up the side body a little bit more. Deep breath here. Good, let's come on up and take it over to the other side. Rolling out your right rib cage here and pressing maybe with a little more effort into the left hand to open up the side of the body. Good, nice and good. Inhale, come on back up. Let's sweep both arms up. Interlace your fingers, reach your palms up towards the sky, or just reach the fingertips up if that feels better on your shoulders. Maybe look up or keep the chin level. Always taking care of your neck. Good, and then we'll release, really reach the arms out wide, bring your hands behind your back, either interlace the hands behind the back or just bring fingertips to the floor. We're just opening up the front of the chest here. Draw your shoulder blades together. Nice big breath into your heart center. Good, and release. Roll your shoulders out. Let's straighten the legs out for a moment and give them a little pound out. We're going to come into a twist series here. This is also the shape the legs can be in if you're not doing pigeon today. So we'll look at that as well. Lean back, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. And I'm taking my feet wide distance apart. And I'm just going to do a little windshield wiper with the legs. So just let them go back and forth a couple times. See how this feels on your hips. Good, and the next time you come over to the right, we're going to stay to the right. And I'm going to swing my hips so that they're towards the front of the mat. So square your hips towards the front of the mat. Yep. And if this doesn't feel good on the hip, you can have one leg out or the other leg out. So just decide what feels good. If neither of them feel good, then you can just be legs straight out in front. If you're here in this little zigzag shape, you're going to bring your right hand to the floor. Left arm floats up. Inhale here, exhale, take a twist to the right. Inhale, open it up. And then another twist. So we're going to do this a few more times. Stay nice and grounded in your seat. Try not to let the sitting bones come up off the floor. We're just, that's it, Marianne, just getting the twist into the body. For the next time you twist over to the right, we're going to stay to the right. Maybe bring both hands to the floor. So I'm in my twist, and you can stay here if this is enough, or start to come down onto the elbows. So this is coming into a bigger twist. Your left sitting bone will lift off the floor a little bit here for this one. And we're just going to hold and breathe. So you might be all the way down. You might have hands on the floor. You might just be in a gentle twist with the body fully upright. So find what works for you. That's good, Terry. Good, preparing to come up. Slowly walk yourself up if you're down on the elbows. We'll take a counter twist, so twisting to the other side. And then hold on to your left ankle if you're working with the ankle. Otherwise, you can stay in the twist. Good, pick up the leg, and we're just going to swing the leg back and forth here. So your leg's got to be behind you. Yes, that's it. Another really good one for the hip. Flex your left foot. Flex your foot, yeah. Good, guys. Last one. And then we're going to bring the left foot down to the floor. The hips are still square to the front of your mat. Hold on to your left foot. Lean back. And then maybe straighten the leg. Doesn't have to be fully straight. It can just be a little straight. We're still warming up. Think about drawing your shoulder blades onto the back of your body and lifting your heart. Take 3 breaths here. Still warming up, just a little stretch into the hamstring, into the backs of the shoulders. Good, and then release, bring the foot down. Lean back, both feet come wide. And we're gonna do that series on the other side, but we'll take a little zigzag first. Good, next time you shift over to the left, we're gonna stay to the left and create this little zigzag shape again. Make sure your hips are square to the front of your mat. Knowing that you can always get your body higher. So Terry, you might wanna get another blanket or two and get your hips a little bit higher. Good, bringing your left hand to the floor, sweeping your right arm out on an exhale. We're twisting over to the left, guys. Good. Open it up. Good, last one. Then we'll twist over to the left. Maybe bring both hands to the floor. You might just be here, or you might lower down. Find your shape that works best for your body. Excuse me, a little frog in my throat. Good, and then slowly working your way back up. We'll sweep the right arm all the way over to the left, just a little counter twist here. And then grab your right ankle, pick up the foot, and I'm leaning into my left hand here, flexing the right foot, and then just doing this little movement with the hip. And I'm doing a big movement, it might just be this, right? It might not be anything. You might be in your windshield wiper with your knees, like we did at the beginning of this series. Good, one more.
This one's tall.
I don't know, my girlfriend Joyce created it, so I love it. Good, and then we'll bring the right foot to the floor. Hold on to your right foot, lean back a little bit, and straighten. Gotta come up with a name? Okay, I'll ask her. and breathe. So we're trying to come up with a name for that series. Marianne wants a name for it, so all submissions welcome. Good, and then release, come on back down. Hang on just a second. Just making sure everybody is muted. Okay. Good, okay guys, let's come on to all fours. Tabletop pose. And if you're like me and you have mature knees, maybe you put a little blanket underneath your knees. And we can bring our blocks up to the top of our mats too. And as you find your tabletop pose, just finding some movement here. So maybe it's a cat-cow. Maybe you're barrel rolling your chest. Just find some movement, coordinating it with your breath, with your inhalation and exhalation. Just take the next 30 seconds or so to see what your body needs, what your spine needs here. Good, we're going to come right into our dog balasana flow, alternating between downward facing dog and child's pose. You guys are familiar with this. We'll shift back, come into downward facing dog, hold it for a moment, and then release back down into tabletop, and then child's pose. Inhale to fours, exhale, downward facing dog, and just alternating between the two, moving with your breath. We're not necessarily holding dog pose unless that feels better for your body. You'll have an opportunity to hold and breathe in the moment. But just find this dynamic flow, trying to move with the inhale and the exhale, alternating between downward facing dog and your child's pose. Just a few more. You can always skip dog pose and just come in and out of child's pose for a gentler practice. Good, next time you come into your flow, we'll hold in downward facing dog, and now you can walk it out here. Maybe wag the hips from side to side, pedaling the knees, the feet, stretching the toes. What feels good for your Adho Mukha Svanasana here? Good, Colleen, walk your feet closer to your hands. Yep, and then separate your fingers really wide apart. Yep, bend your knees and scoot your butt up towards the ceiling. Keep your knees bent. Yes, you feel that? Beautiful. Next, inhale, come forward to plank yogis. So shoulders over wrists, knees can be up or down in your plank. Your hips are in line with your shoulders. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple more, coming through to your plank and taking it back, downward facing dog. Knowing you can always skip the plank and just hold dog pose or take a rest. Make this your practice. Do two more. Good, and then we'll hold in plank, shoulders over wrists. Reach through your heels. Isometrically drag the heels of your hands towards your feet and feel the front of the body fire up. I love that one. Yeah, that's a doozy, right? Good, come on down now. Knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Elbows tight into your body here. On an inhale, take it up, baby cobra. On an exhale, downward facing dog. And maybe coming through a couple rounds of your flow here. So knowing you can always come down onto the knees and then lower down chest and chin, butt stays up in the air, coming into a little baby cobra here, and then taking it back into downward facing dog. When you feel complete in your flow, we'll meet in child's pose, guys. Stay with your breath. No rush. Just watching everybody. Good. Good, yogis. From your child's pose, slide your palms under your shoulders, press into your hands, sit yourself up. And we're gonna bring our blocks, or if you're using sturdy books, up to the front of our mats. And I'm gonna bring my blocks up to a really high setting because we're gonna take a little walk here. This is great for the hips. Make sure your blocks are on your mat. And Terry, take your blocks up another notch. Good. So I want you guys to think, sorry, I have the wrong shirt on today. I want you guys to think about lifting from your right hip. So I'm in my tabletop with my hands on my block. I'm lifting from my right hip. So you can see my knee kind of comes up off the floor, and I'm gonna step as best I can straight forward into a low lunge. And this is not a speedy thing. You can come slowly. And then I'm gonna pick up my foot and step it straight back. Yeah. Left side, lift, keep the foot flexed, step it forward, lift, step the foot back. So this is not easy. You might feel like you're doing this. I got it. But try and step straight forward and just get a little momentum going now. Now that you know what we're doing, you're picking the knee up and stepping the foot forward, and use the body to just take a little walk. Stepping forward and back. Another really, really good series for the hip. When I first started doing this, I couldn't do it. I had to wing my foot out to the side. You're building strength and awareness into the hip socket. Good. The next time you're on the right foot, we'll hold. Good. Walk your hands up your leg. And then we'll just sink into the hip here. Inhale, come on up. Yep, grab your blanket if you need it. Exhale and sink. Good, keep going. Good, one more. And then we're gonna hold here. Doing some movement with the arms now. Sweep the arms up, inhale. You're holding the stretch into the hips. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers as you inhale, reach the knuckles down, lift the heart. And then as you exhale, we're gonna release and fold over the front leg, lift the toes for a stretch into the hamstring. Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Good, come forward, float the arms up, inhale. Exhale, extend, hands interlace. Inhale, reach down, lift, and then fold forward on exhale, flex the foot. Let's do a few more. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale. Interlace as you inhale, reach down, lift, and then fold. Last one, yogis. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Hands interlace, knuckles reach down and lift. And then we fold. And let's hold here now. So folding over your right leg, flexing the foot, really fires up the back of the leg. Good, and then we'll come forward, preparing for a little twist here, bringing your Left hand to the inside of your right foot, coming up on the ball of your left foot. Straight leg lunge, and we're going to twist over to the right. Breathe. Good, and release. Downward facing dog. Find your flow. Doesn't have to be a vinyasa here. You can just hold in downward facing dog. You can take a little rest in child's pose. We're going to meet in child's pose and do the other side, guys. If you're coming through flow, just come through one round and we'll meet in balasana. Good, let's come into that series on the other side now. Maybe bringing your blocks to their highest setting once again and stepping the left foot forward. And then walk your hands up the leg. Back knee is down on the floor, yep, and we're sinking on exhale into the hip. Good. Last one, we'll sink into the hip here and hold. And you don't have to sink into the hip if you've got a hip injury, you just stay up here and do the series, right? So take care of your hip. If you feel any pinching in the hip, back off. Good, sweeping arms up, inhale. Exhale, release, hands interlace. Reach down, lift up. And then we fold over the front foot, flex your toes. Couple more. Inhale, back to your low lunge. Sweep the arms up. Exhale, lower the arms, interlace. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, fold. Two more on your own, guys. Last one. And then we're going to hold here in our half splits. Ardha Hanumanasana, really flexing the toes on your left foot to fire up the back of the leg. And then we'll come forward and take a twist. Block comes to the inside of the left foot this time. You're on the ball of your right foot. Find stability. And then when you're ready, twisting to the left. Maybe floating your left arm up. Look down at your left knee. Make sure it's tracking over your ankle. Good, and then release. Find your flow. Nice work, guys. Good, we're going to meet in a forward fold at the top of our mats. So take your time through your flow and then come into a forward fold at the top of your mats. Good, so from your Uttanasana, soft knees here, let the head and shoulder girdle hang. Inhale, lift the heart, halfway lift. Exhale, unfold. Keep your hands on your legs here. Inhale, lift, and release. Last one. Holding here, just a nice little stretch here in your forward fold. Maybe shake your head yes and no a couple times. And then we'll walk the hands up the legs, come all the way up to standing. Find your mountain pose. Good, sweep arms up, inhale. Exhale, just the arms lower. 2 more. Last one. Coming into a nice crescent stretch now, yogis. Sweep arms up, inhale, hold on to your left wrist. Take it over to the right. Holding here, I'm pulling on my left wrist and pressing down into my left foot to open up the side of the body. Good, come on back up to center, change hands. Extend as you inhale, take it over to the left. On your exhale, holding here. Good, sweep up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, soften. Inhale, halfway lift, and fold. Arms out to the sides, all the way up. Half sun salutation, guys. Exhale and fold. Halfway lift, and release. Press down to lift up. Let's do 3 more. Taking your time. Letting the breath dictate the movement, not the other way around. Good. We'll meet palms together over heart center. Good, shoulders relax. Soft gaze. Good, separate your feet and let's take a little swing here with the arms. We're gonna do the hip flow. I promised you guys we're gonna do the hip flow. Almost every class this month. So we're gonna do it again. Marianne's really excited. Okay, so important, move all your props out of the way so that you don't kick them into someone else or the TV or a plant or your husband or whatever.
Do we keep the straps for it?
Not for the flow, no, you don't need your straps, Liddy. Good, so let's come to the top of our mat. We'll just do a little flow down to the floor before we flow into our hips. Sweep arms up, inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's take it back, downward facing dog. Float your right leg up, lift it up as high as you can, bend your knee and open your hip. We're going to do a little strength here into our core, into the shoulders. So you're going to square the hip, come forward into a high plank, draw your right knee to your left elbow, bring it to your right elbow, and then shoot the leg back up. We're making a figure 8. Circle the knee, come into the left elbow, right elbow, and swing it back up. Just one more. Swing it around to left elbow, right elbow, circle up, bring the leg back down, and now bring your right knee to your right thumb. So we're coming into a modified pigeon here. Those of you guys that have hip issues, you can keep the legs straight with the toes right behind you. If you're okay with your hip, then you can come a little bit more, but this is a very gentle pigeon, guys. We're only going to be here for a moment. Lift your heart. As you exhale, drop your right hip down to the floor. So you come on, sit on the floor, and tuck your left foot behind you. Bring your hands behind you, press down into your feet, and lift your hips. Exhale, bring the hips back down to the floor. Your back leg, that's your left leg, is going to swing all the way around, and we're going to come into a twist. So Terry, you can come into just a twist from here. And you can be in Sukhasana, cross-legged pose. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, twist to the left. Come back to center. And if your hips are fine right here, you can stay here. If you want to stack the knees and come into Gomukhasana, you can stack the knees one on top of the other and hold here for Gomukhasana. Sit up nice and tall. Use your fingertips to guide the spine. Invite the spine to be nice and tall here. And then we're going to take the top leg, that's your left leg, and draw it behind your right. Separate your knees wide apart. Bring your hands behind you, press down into your feet, lift your hips. Exhale, lower the legs back down. Extend your right leg out to the side, flex your right foot, and take a forward fold. Doesn't have to be deep. Inhale, lift up. Bring your left hand down to the floor, right arm crosses, and come into your gate. So press down into the top of your left foot. You have to lift the hips. Toes are flexed, pointing up towards the ceiling. So flex your right, that's it, Liddy, good. Okay, you guys ready? Sweep your right leg straight back. Square your hips to the front of your mat, beautiful. And we're in pigeon on the other side. You'll only be here for a moment. Lift up. As you exhale, left hip drops down to the floor, so you're sitting on the floor. Tuck your right leg behind you this time. Bring your hands behind you. Yep, that's it, Miriam. Bend your right knee. Yep. Press down into your feet, lift your hips. Exhale and lower. Back leg sweeps all the way around to the front. Square your hips to the front of your mat. We're getting ready for a twist, guys. And twist to the left, to the right. To the right, towards the windows. Hard keeping my left and right straight with this one. Good, come back to center. And then stack your knees, maybe for Gomukhasana. Or just stay in the twist. Good, find your top leg. It should be your right leg. Draw your right leg behind your left. Separate your knees wide apart. Bring your hands behind you. Press into the feet and lift the hips. Exhale and lower. Extend your left leg out to the side. And take a little forward fold. Janu Shirsasana variation. Here comes our gate, guys. Arm sweeps towards the front and come on up. Flex your left foot. Try and lift. That's beautiful, Cherry. Nice adjustment. Nice modification. Are you ready, guys? Inhale here, exhale. Sweep the left leg straight back. Sorry, there's a garbage truck and the windows are open. We're going to do that one more time. I know you guys are really happy about it. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release the right hip down. Tuck the left leg behind you. Hands come behind you. Press down into your feet and lift. If you're lifting and you're lifting the head, try not to let your head wing back too much. So keep a little bit of length in the back of the neck, your cervical spine, protect it. Lower down. Sweep the back leg all the way around to the front. And we're going to twist to the left. Notice if this feels a little bit different. Might be feeling more open. Come back to center. Stack your knees or stay in the twist position. So either staying here or Gomukhasana. And then hold on to your left foot, tuck it behind your right. Separate your knees wide apart. Bring your hands behind you. Press down into your feet, lift your hips. A little more open, second round. Exhale and lower. Extend your right leg out to the side and fold. Come on up. Here comes our gate, guys. Sweep up. Okay, one more side. Bring your awareness into your right foot. Sweep it straight back. Inhale, lift. Yes, exhale and release the hip down to the floor. Left hip comes down. Tuck your right leg behind you. Bring your hands behind you, press down into your feet, lift your hip. Exhale, lower. Sweep the back leg all the way around to the front. Square your hips to the front of your mat, and we'll twist to the right. Come back to center, Gomukhasana variation, or just staying with the legs quiet in that twist position, holding here. If your Gomukhasana is super open, you can start to walk yourself forward. If you're walking forward, flex your feet, spread your toes. And then we'll come back up and finish up this series, bringing your right leg behind your left, separate your knees wide apart. Hands come behind you, press down into your feet, lift your hips. And then lower the hips back down. Square your hips to the front of your mat and extend your left leg out to the side. Come into your forward fold. Lift up. Here comes our gate, guys. Pick it up. Press down into the top of your right foot. Yes, to lift the hips. And then we'll sweep the left leg straight back and find downward facing dog. Nice work, guys. Walk it out. Float your left leg up, reach it straight back behind you, bend your knee, open your hip. You thought I forgot about this, didn't you? So we're going to come into that figure eight series on the left side. Square your hip. Inhale here as you exhale. Bring left knee to right elbow, and then sweep the leg up. Big circle with the knee. Two more. Right elbow, left elbow, circle up. Last one. Right elbow, left elbow, circle it up. Bring your left foot to the floor and come through your flow. Optional to come through your vinyasa. We'll meet in child's pose once again. Take your time. But from your child's pose, we'll tippy toe fingertips to the right as you draw your left hip back. Good, come back to center. And then on an exhale, tippy toe fingertips to the left. Drawing your right hip back, little side body stretch here, nice stretch to the shoulders. We'll come back to center. We're just going to transition to our mountain pose. Inhale to tabletop. Take it back, downward facing dog. And then walk your feet up to your hands into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold, and let's come all the way up. Palms together over heart center, pausing here. How's everybody doing? Good? How's everybody doing? Good? Awesome. I'm sweating. Is it me? Or is it warm in here, sweating?
Yeah.
It's warm. It's warm. All right, awesome. Hot yoga.
Yeah.
Okay, let's grab our strap. Isn't it great when you can just make hot yoga with your body? I have to always ask because I'm like having hot flashes every 10 minutes. It's brutal. Okay, good. So make sure as you're holding your strap that you are holding the buckle in one hand so you don't clunk yourself as we move here. And then you're going to take your strap at least shoulder width apart, maybe even a little bit wider. So pull your strap and lift the arms up. So I'm staying in the mid-plane of the body. I'm not coming back behind here and impinging my shoulder joint. So staying mid-plane of the body here. Good, exhale, lower your arms. 2 more, pull and lift. Pull and lower. I'm really pulling here. So you should feel this maybe in the backs of the shoulders. So this is firing up the backs of the shoulder blades, your lats. Just right underneath your armpit. Good, last one. Good, and then maybe from here, take the strap a little bit wider apart. We're gonna do a circle. So drop your left arm, drop your right arm, and sweep it around and lift it up. So don't think about this too much. If you do, it will work. So just make a circle however it feels good for your body. Do 1 more. When you come back up to center, switch it the other way. One's gonna feel easier than the other. Keep a gentle bend in your knees, don't lock your knees. Last one. Good, let's come back up. Pull your strap apart and then lower your arms. You can put your strap down, find your tennis ball, and let's roll out our feet. Do a couple little standing poses here before we come back down to our pigeon pose and eventually Shavasana. So if you feel a part on your foot that's tender, spend a little bit of more time there. And then we'll switch over to the other foot. Good. And then move your tennis ball out of the way. We're going to be coming into tree pose. If you like to use a wall or support or a chair, whatever, make your way over to that apparatus, that support. Bring your feet hip-width distance apart and parallel. Good. Make sure your feet are, the outside edges of your toes or your feet are lined up with the outside edges of your mat. Press down into your right foot and pick up your left foot and just hover here for a second. Feel the right leg kind of wiggling and wobbling, all those little support muscles waking up. Don't hold your breath. And now bringing the bottom of your left foot to the inside of the right leg, either above or below your knee, just not on your knee. And if your balance is really off today, and it switches all the time, you can even bring your toes to a block. So wherever you are, maybe palms come together over heart center. I'm not going to move, but maybe arms will come up overhead. Make this about what feels best for your body. Don't compete with yourself. Don't get a prize to have the arms lifted. Palm in your face and your tongue. Good, wherever you are, draw your left knee into your heart. And then shoot the leg back. Superman Asana. I know it's not called Superman Asana, but Superman was always my favorite as a kid, so I'm going to name it Superman Asana. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. I know the right leg is really working now. We're waking up all those little muscles, that sleepy sleep all the time. Good, draw the knee back up. And then place it down. Nice work, you guys. Walk it out, maybe bounce a little. Bouncing is really good. It is. Candace knows this. Animals, horses, everybody shakes it out, right? Shake it out. Okay, let's do it the other side. Bring your awareness into your left foot. Press down into your left foot, pick up your right, hover. Starting to wake up all those little muscles, and then bring the bottom of your right foot to the inside of the left leg, either above or below your knee, not on your knee. Toes can always be on the floor, on a block. Hands can stay at heart center or move up towards the ceiling. Calm. And the eyes and the tongue in the breath. Whole attitude of the body is peaceful. You come out, just come back in. Good, so we're going to slowly start to release. Draw the right knee in. And then shoot it back. Separate your fingers wide, separate your toes. Breathe. Leg is really talking now. Sweep it back forward. Hug it in. And then bring it down. Nice work, you guys. Shake it out. Good. Separate the feet and just swing it out. Okay, we're going to do one more deep flow into the hips, and then we'll come into pigeon, and then we get to relax. Good. So I'm going to go to the side for this one. You guys in the studio to the front of your mats, and bring your blocks to the front of your mats, everybody. And let's find downward facing dog. Good, float your right leg up, reach it straight back behind you. Lift the leg, bend the knee, open the hip. We'll just be here for a moment. Squaring your hip now, stepping your right foot forward into your lunge. And I forgot to cue a blanket. I'm going to grab mine because we are going to be down on the back knee. So if you want to have a blanket close by, just bring it over, take a moment. Good, so bringing your left knee down to the floor. We're going to walk our right foot all the way out to the outside edge of our mat. Preparing for a lizard lunge. You can keep your right foot on the floor, or you can flex the toes and come onto the pinky toe side of your right foot. I'm not going to do it for this side. I'm going to stay grounded here. Good. And then from wherever you are, you can start to come down, or if you're deep enough into the lunge, stay hands on blocks, or maybe lower the elbows down. Remember, you've got 3 positions for your blocks. Your blocks might be at their highest setting. Yeah, that's it, Terry. Find your low lizard lunge. Make sure you're not looking behind you. You're looking straight down at the floor. So the head and the neck are neutral in line with your spine. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Come back into your hip. Notice if you're holding. Bring your breath, direct your breath into that place where you're holding to make space. And on the exhale, just softening into the pose, never in crisis, just awareness. Good, we're going to come out of the pose a little bit, keep in the lunge. And you can stay here or start to bend your left knee. And I'm kind of scooching my knee back so that I'm more above the knee, not directly on my kneecap. So I'm kind of scooching the leg away from me a little bit. Sweep your right arm behind you and maybe find the top of your left foot with your right hand. If it doesn't quite get there, that's okay. Just Maybe lift the leg and twist. Reach the arm back. Those of you guys in the studio, if you don't have the foot, face your palm towards the windows. Yeah. If you've got your foot, you can do two things. You can press your foot into your hand and open the shoulder, or you can pull the foot in towards the glute for a big quad stretch. Take another breath or two here. Good, and if you've got the foot, slowly release, don't slingshot. Let's find downward facing dog, walk it out. Good, we're gonna come right into the other side, yogis. Left leg lifts up, reach it straight up, bend the knees, open the hip. Square your hip, and then step your left foot forward into your lunge. I'm bringing my back knee right down onto the floor. Make sure your left knee is tracking over your left ankle. And this may be enough of a stretch right into the hip. There's no requirement to come deeper into this. This is a big stretch for the hip. If you're coming into the lizard lunge, you're going to bring your hands or your blocks to the inside of your left foot. Walk your left foot out to the side. And again, you can stay with the foot flat or roll onto the pinky toe side of your left foot. If you're doing that, flex your toes up towards your knee. It's going to protect your knee. And again, you can stay here or come deeper into your lizard lunge. And let's take some breaths here. Good. Preparing to come out. If you're on the pinky toe side of your left foot, come onto the foot as you walk yourself up. Here comes this optional piece. I'm going to start to bend now my right knee. And again, I'm wiggling my leg so that my knee moves away from the body and I'm not on my kneecap. You might just be here. You might sweep the left arm behind you and find the top of the right foot, or just find your twist. If you're in the studio, your palms facing the mirror if you're not holding the foot. And again, you can move the foot away from you to open the shoulder or draw the foot in for a quad stretch. Take another breath or two here. Good, and then slowly release. We'll find our flow here. So coming into downward facing dog, moving through your vinyasa. We're going to meet this time all the way onto our bellies. So you can skip the flow if you want, take a few breaths in dog pose, maybe find a child's pose, and eventually we'll come all the way down onto our bellies and rest. Any position for your arms, your head, and your neck. Let the body settle here. We'll take just 30 seconds here to settle. Moving now into Cobra Pose. Bring your hands in line with your chest, elbows up towards the ceiling like little grasshopper wings. Bringing your chin or your forehead to the floor. And just relax your legs. Give your butt a little wiggle back and forth and let your heels roll out away from the midline of the body. So more towards the outside edges of your mat. Yep. As you inhale, lift the heart. Isometrically drag your elbows, your hands back towards your ribs. You're just doing a little baby cobra. You're not pressing into your hands too much. Exhale, come down halfway. Draw your chin in slightly. Back of your neck is long. Inhale, let's lift up again. Exhale, come all the way down. We're going to do this little pulse 3 more times. So as you inhale, lift up. As you exhale, come down halfway. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale, come all the way back down. We're going to do 2 more. Each time you lift, you're isometrically dragging the hands back towards the ribs to create space in the front of the chest. When you finish your last one, relax. Any position for the arms, your head or your neck. Take your time. And from here, we're going to come into just one hold round of locust pose, Shalabhasana. Bring your arms by your sides, palms facing up. Chin or forehead comes back down to the floor. And as you inhale, lift everything up. Legs lift, arms lift, fingertips reach straight back towards the wall behind you. Draw your shoulder blades onto the back. Maybe the chin lifts slightly. And you'll hold here and breathe. Optional to interlace the hands behind the back and reach your knuckles again away from you towards the feet. You're not lifting the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Just one straight line. When you're ready to release, taking your time, no rush, slowly come all the way down and rest. Any position again for the arms, the head, and the neck. And maybe bend the knees and windshield wiper your feet. Good. Coming into one last downward facing dog here before we move into our pigeon series. Taking a nice walk here in your dog, finding some length and extension in your spine. After that deep back bending and then eventually leading down into your child's pose. Take your time. Good. Eventually sliding your palms under your shoulders, press into your hands to sit yourself up. So we're going to move into our pigeon series. And if pigeon is not in your practice and it just doesn't feel good, I'm going to offer you guys some options. So you can always do pigeon on your back, like this. So this is just a reclined pigeon. If that's not good enough, if that doesn't feel good, you can do a yin pose, which is, I think it's called swan, where you're just doing like a half gomukhasana. So you're still getting a stretch into the hip and you fold this way. You can also just have the legs like we did our little zigzag, but just separate them a little bit more and come forward this way, flexing the feet. So those of you guys that are working on hip stuff, those are some of your alternatives here in the studio and at home, okay? If you're coming into full pigeon with me, I'm gonna have you guys bring a blanket or a block to the right side of your mat. And I'm gonna do this sideways, this one, guys. So bring a blanket or a block to the right side of your mat. And have your strap close by too. Yeah, and even what Liddy's doing, Terry, is another nice one. So Liddy's just keeping her right foot on the floor and doing that half pigeon, yeah, that way, and she can do a twist or anything in that way as well. So I think one of those would be good for you, Terry.
Okay.
Yeah. Those of you guys coming into pigeon, you're going to come onto a tabletop pose, and then bring your right knee to your right thumb. So we did this before on our hip flow, right? Turn and look at your back foot and really creep the toes on your left foot back as much as you can. And if this feels okay on your hip, you can start to walk your right foot and make the shin more parallel to the front of your mat. I'm not going to do that because this is my injured hip. I will say mature hip. It's not injured, it's just mature. And you'll notice that my butt is not on the floor. So in order to keep my hips level, I'm going to take a blanket and put a blanket underneath my hips, my right hip, so that I have something to rest into. Oh, so much better. My hips are square to the front of my mat, and then I might stay here or start to come down. Again, you find what works best for your body. If your right shin is more parallel to the front of your mat, really flex your right foot, draw your toes up towards your knee to protect your knee. And then you can come all the way down if you want to. I like to have my forehead on a block here so that I'm not just hanging in space with my head. And we're going to take about 5 breaths here. So settle in. Stay with your breath. If you feel like you've got more space after a breath or two, maybe change what's happening with the arms. Maybe you creep the toes on the back foot back a little bit more. This will release your left hip. Good, and then if you're all the way down, we're going to work our way back up. We're not coming quite out just yet. If you've had enough and your hips are ready to come out, absolutely come out. Take a downward facing dog, maybe do a flow. If you want to come with me, we're going to start to bend the left knee. So we did this in our hip flow earlier. And then maybe sweep your right arm behind you and find the top of your left foot. If your left foot doesn't quite get to you, you can take your strap, wrap it around the foot, and bring your strap over your right shoulder. This is a nice way to do this pose. And maybe even float your left arm up. So again, finding what works best for you. This is just an option. You can just hold in the pigeon, come out. Wherever you are, take a couple more breaths. When you're ready to release out of the pose, slowly and mindfully come out. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog and walk it out. Take your time coming out, move slowly. When you hold poses for a long time, you have to come out of them super slow. Give your body time to adjust. And if you were using your props, you can move them over to the other side of your mat. And we'll make our way into pigeon on the left side. You can come into pigeon right from downward facing dog by bringing left knee to left thumb, or come onto all fours and then do the same thing, bringing left knee to left thumb. Look back at your right foot, creep your toes way, way back behind you. Those of you guys that are doing alternates can switch to the other side. And again, you can square your left shin more towards the front of your mat if it's comfortable for your hip. Find your prop if you're using one. And then let's come into our pigeon. So always moving mindfully. Once you find your fullest expression of Ekapada Rajakapotasana or any variation, find your breath. 5 more breaths here. Preparing to come out. You want to hold it for longer and you're comfortable, you can stay where you are. Make this practice your own. If you're coming up with me, starting to bend into the right leg, and then maybe reaching back and finding the top of the right foot. You can use your strap here. Come into a modification, or just find a calm place to breathe here. Not over-efforting. And when you feel complete in this variation, or whatever variation of pigeon you're doing, we'll find ourselves back into downward facing dog. Walking it out. We're going to end up seated and work a twist. So those of you guys that are doing different variations, you can come into dog pose if you like, or we'll just all meet sitting on our blankets. Preparing to twist. Take your time getting there, no rush. Keep your strap close by. We're going to go till about 10:35, guys, so another 10 minutes, just because I always start 5 minutes late. I want to give you guys the full 90. Good, so finding your blankets and sitting on top of your blanket. And as you come on your blanket, make sure that you're not all the way on the blanket. So you want your sitting bones just kind of on the blanket with the backs of your legs hanging off. We're going to come into a twist. Bend your right leg. Cross your right leg over your left. Bring your right hand behind you. Am I going the right way? No, sorry. Left hand behind you. No, I was right. Right hand behind you and on an exhale twist. So you can hold on to the right leg. You can bring the left elbow to the outside of the right leg and let the palm face the windows if you're in the studio. But really use your hand behind you to keep the spine tall. So you don't want to be rounded. Nice lift here in the heart. And breathe. Good. Preparing to come out, slowly release. Draw your knee into your heart, give it a little squeeze, and then straighten the legs, shake the legs out. And we'll do the other side, crossing left leg over right. Left hand comes behind you, nice and tall in your spine. Sweep the arm up, and then we'll twist to the left, bringing the elbow to the outside of the left knee, or you can just hold onto your knee. Think about using your hand behind you to sit nice and tall. Yep, that's it, Colleen. Good, and then slowly release. Draw the knee in, extend it out, shake the legs out. We're going to do one more forward fold, Paschimottanasana. I like to use a strap when I do this forward fold. You may or may not need one, but again, you're on the edge of your blanket. Take your strap and wrap it around your feet. And I want you guys to think about leading with your heart. So I'm going to have the wrong shirt on today, but you want to think about zippering your belly to your thighs. A lot of times when we go into forward folds, the first thing people do is, I got to get my head down to my knees, but you skip the whole spine that way. So think about sitting nice and tall, drawing your shoulder blades onto the back of your body. And I'm not death gripping the strap, right? I'm just kind of using it as a guide. And I'm going to muscle my way, use the muscles in my legs and my core to start to come forward, but keeping the spine relatively neutral. I'm not rounding. And you might just only come to here. So belly is zippering to the thighs. Maybe you're walking your hands down your strap. Maybe you don't need your strap. The hands can even be on either side of the legs. And I'm using my muscle, and you'll have an opportunity to round. So don't worry about that. Flex your feet. Head, neck, and spine in line. And then hold here and breathe. Wherever you come to, you might be sitting straight up. For those of you guys that want to round your spine, I want you to think about rounding your spine from the base of your spine. You might even bring your hand there. So your head is the last thing to go. So start to think about rounding your spine at the base of the spine. So letting the spine round and see if it feels okay. If it doesn't, then stay neutral in that first position. And then feel the whole spine rounding. The head is the last thing to release. And then you're in your forward fold and can breathe and rest. And again, you may not be coming down very deep. It may be a sense of softening. You could even let go of the strap if you like, and just feel that relaxation coming through the whole spine. Forward bending is about the spine, not about the legs. Good, let your head go, Colleen. Yeah. Good, Yogi. So we're going to walk ourselves back up nice and slow. Bring your hands onto either side of the legs and then slowly walk up. The head's going to lift and you're going to come up all in one piece, head, neck, and spine all in one line. When you come into your staff pose, Dandasana, let the shoulders settle. Lean back a little bit. Just a little counter stretch here, so a little lift of the heart, a little arch of the spine. Good, and then release. Let's roll the legs out and we'll transition now to relaxation, Shavasana. Good, so coming onto your backs now. Taking another moment to make sure you're very comfortable. If there's any other movement your body needs before coming into stillness, just take that time to be fully supported. And then swallow now so your soft palate releases back. Letting your jaw release from behind your ears so that your teeth gently part, your tongue resting in the bottom of your mouth. Bringing your awareness now to the back of the body. Taking a nice big breath in, and as you exhale, let the whole back of your body spread out on the floor from your heels all the way up the body to the back of the head. We'll rest here for a few more minutes. I'm watching the time, and I'll let you guys know when we're ready to come out. And remember your breath. Taking a deeper breath in now. And let it go. Perhaps another deeper, longer breath in. Just let it go. Slowly coming back into space, taking your time, do not hurry. Eventually bending your knees, placing your feet onto the floor, coming onto your side to rest. Make sure you support your head with your arm or your blanket. Eventually using the strength of your arms to press yourself up to a comfortable seat. We'll just take a moment with this sense of peace and quiet from our Shavasana to a more upright and wakeful pose, so we can take that peace with us as we leave the studio today. Just notice how your hips feel, coming back into your hips, the front of the hips. Noticing the quality of your breath and the state of your mind as a result of your practice. Great work this morning, yogis. Thank you so much. Namaste. Namaste. If you guys want to unmute yourself, you can namaste out.
Thanks, Joan.
Guys, great to see everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a great week, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much. The hip openers were awesome.
They were.
We're sitting on Zoom. This was like perfect. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you, April.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I actually have a question for you.
Yeah, sure, Alicia.
I don't know if you have any ideas for my hands, because after a while I know with continued practice it'll help to strengthen them, but they end up being so sore and hurting. I don't know if you have any thoughts for like ways to help with that.
Yeah, so is it bothering you mostly when you're in downward facing dog or all the time?
Yeah, and anything works. It depends. Usually when it's most of my weight, downward facing dog, and then a few other ones too.
Okay, so a couple things. So when you're in downward facing dog, you want to make sure that you're not just hanging out in your wrist. The hand is very active. So the fingers are spread wide, and you can even think of symmetrically drawing your fingers towards one another. And when you do that, you'll feel the base of the hand, the palm of the hand kind of pump, like you almost have a little cup there, and that will actually support the wrists. So a lot of times what happens, we get a little bit, not lazy, but we forget about our hands and we just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
We call muscle energy into the hands. And the other thing you can do is if it's really bothering you in downward facing dog, you can do a puppy pose. And puppy, do you know puppy?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So instead of being in dog pose here, you're on your elbows and your knees are open.
Oh, okay.
And then you can walk your hands out and do this way.
Okay, yeah.
And so it takes that weight off of your hands and your wrists. So I would try those two things.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did that puppy fast. So if you go on Google and you go like puppy pose, find like 1,000 examples of it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. Hopefully I think that'll definitely help. So thank you for your advice.
Okay, take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.